So I heard you say that Kirby sucks. The thing is, that's actually true. So that means you're doing a Kirby marathon, right?
No.
What do you mean no?
I don't feel like doing a Kirby marathon.
Why?
Because
if you don't do it, you're gonna. I will kill you.
No. Oh really?
Yes.
Well,
What? Hey John.
What?
Hey John. What? Hey John. What? Can I have $5?
I got us two.
Okay. Hey John. I'll pay you $2 if you do a Kirby marathon.
Get my money back.
No.
Hi. You know how good Kirby views do? I control your paycheck.
It's penny change.
Sonic 2 is objectively better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles. When are you doing Kirby?
Hey.
We have cute children with British accents and British faces. And if you don't do this, you're letting them down. Not me, you're letting them down.
That's a low blow, motherfucker. Alright, fine. I'll do the fucking marathon. Well then, it's finally here. No more beating around the bush. It's finally time to look at the Kirby franchise. And holy shit, ever since the end of my Pokemon Generation 2 video where I said this,
how about a month of Kirby then?
Please, like that series is worth dedicating an entire month to.
What did you say?
I'm not doing a month of Kirby. Doesn't deserve one.
a lot of you, kind of took what I said seriously, and it's like, I don't know what to tell you. That was part of the script. Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy by HAL Laboratories. Masahiro Sakurai's first game in his career at the age of 23. 23, that's 23? He looked older then than he does now. What's that about? Also, typing his name in Google is pretty interesting because you get a visual chronology of his life, including that one time where he changed his race, completely lost a bunch of hair, and gained a lot of weight. Let it be known that crunch culture is indeed real and it's very dangerous. Though Kirby was his official debut, he did receive a special thanks in the 1992 dungeon crawler Arcana, also developed by HAL Laboratories, which was released a few months before Kirby's Dream Land. I don't know what he did to elicit such special thanks, but who knows, maybe he was the coffee boy for the developers. Masahiro Sakurai and Shigeru Miyamoto apparently got into a bit of an argument on what Kirby's color should be. Sakurai wanted pink, Miyamoto wanted yellow. Maybe that's why Kirby was white in North America. These two argued for so long that the localizers said, fuck it, color him white until they stop bickering, for God's sakes. I don't know, yellow would have been too close to Pac-Man if you ask me, so I'm glad they went with pink. But man, talk about the bare minimum in character design. And according to Shigeru Miyamoto, this was done in reference to John Kirby, a lawyer who helped successfully defend Nintendo in a lawsuit against Universal Studios back when they were getting shit for Donkey Kong being potentially derivative of King Kong. I want to say that's the oddest origin story for a name I ever heard for a Nintendo character, but then again, Mario was named after the landlord of Nintendo of America's office branch, so this shit is just kinda standard. Kirby easily outperforms them in animation and expressiveness. Well, okay, expressiveness is kinda stretching it. In this game, Kirby's rather stoic. He doesn't really smile, he's got like one face throughout the whole thing, but he commits to it, damn it. When he's dancing after a level's done, when he's stuck inside a whale's blowhole, when he's got a sharp fishhook jammed in his mouth. This isn't quite the same Kirby as you might know in later games, but he still looks so adorable, and you know he means well. When you finish the game's extra mode, yeah, he sends King Dedede through the roof and likely into orbit, but when the two meet up again, Kirby's quick to check and see if he's okay. Aw, Kirby doesn't mean any harm, except when you take away his food, then he's nigh unkillable and everyone's gonna die. I like to think it's common knowledge that Kirby was always known for his copy ability. What is a Kirby game without that? Well, Dreamland has the answer for you, a super simple platformer that even a person with the slightest bit of platforming knowledge can complete in under half an hour. Nothing really stands a chance against Kirby's powerful suck. There's a surplus of enemies to suck up and shoot out, so you always have projectiles in some fashion. Now there are some that are immune to your powerful suck, but you can easily deal with them by just ignoring them. But you can also shoot that air from your mouth like a bullet. That's enough for practically everything except boss fights. Now these require a little more thought, but not that much. I mean, for God's sakes, the first boss is a tree. I don't know why we pick a fight with this thing. Even if they were a minion of King Dedede, what the hell is a tree gonna do? It's a tree. Just walk past that son of a bitch. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. That's the face of someone who got into this mess because they didn't read the terms of service. But you also got these two, Lololo and La, who I think are actually based on characters from another game. Yeah, this one, Eggerland, which would eventually become The Adventures of Lolo when it moved to the NES. It's a game where you push blocks to solve puzzles. Well, here's the solution to this puzzle. Die. Kirby not only saves all the food, but he hijacks the whole castle and brings it back to Dreamland. Good God, he was holding back the whole time. And that is the end of Kirby's first adventure. Got some interesting credits here too. I wasn't aware that weather on certain days of the week could make video games. Although I found out this is actually a pseudonym for the late Satoru Iwata who helped program the game, and now I'm suddenly sad. But hey, Bubby's here to cheer me up, and special thanks to Cypher? It has been a very erratic couple of weeks with things happening behind the scenes of the family. My mother's making progress. For those asking, it's still a long road to recovery, but here's hoping everything is good. But during the middle of all that, I got sick. And you guys heard that during the Sonic Hacking Contest live stream showcase. So I was coughing, wheezing, sneezing. It was for as soon as Kirby reconstructs the Star Rod, a dark force suddenly springs out of it known as Nightmare, who wants to plunge Dreamland and the whole galaxy into eternal darkness. Now you defeat him shortly after that, but I like that twist. King DDD didn't need to get his monkey taint juice all over the fountain. When you get to his boss fight, he won't even face you unless you pick up the sword he leaves you on the ground. And you can leave him hanging there all day and he won't budge an inch. He wants a fair fight? Fuck it, I'll fight when I'm ready. My noodles are done. What I also find intriguing about Meta Knight is that you beat him, his mask falls off, and he has a face that looks like Kirby's. So, are they the same species? Are they related? What's going on there? Is he still waiting over there? He is? Good, fuck him. Well, Kirby's Adventure may have been made for an inferior console, but the level of detail and sprite quality is once again second to none for this kind of technology. Easily one of the best looking platformers on the Nintendo with a ton of charming personality beaming throughout. From Kirby's well animated design, the enemies you encounter, the cute interface that shows Kirby demonstrating his special powers, all those fun little interludes that play when you enter a new world. Although, gonna cry foul here on the second world intro, how is Kirby dreaming if there are currently no dreams, huh? Is this a fucking children's game? I did always like how the game began as soon as you booted up the system. You get a quick little tutorial on how you can draw Kirby, perfect for the kids. A circle for a body, 2 stubs for hands, 2 stubs for feet, and voila, it's Kirby. They can draw him, you can draw him, except Kirby. Low self-esteem, maybe. They don't all hit the mark, and a few do feel a bit redundant, like I don't see much difference in the sword and hammer besides one being a sword and the other being a hammer, but who knows, hammers might be more of your aesthetical preference, and they break certain blocks to get some hidden collectibles, so there's some differences. Fire is just a flamethrower, that doesn't require much explanation. You thought Wispy Woods was a pushover before, but this is like attacking a tree in real life. But outside of that, there's also several things you can do outside of levels to get lives and power-ups. You can play this crane game to score extra lives, you can stuff Kirby's bottomless gut with eggs and get lives that way as long as you don't swallow any bomb. What the hell is this game? You can visit these museums to grab a certain power-up on command, or you can battle a mini-boss in this arena to get those extra fancy power-ups like the hammer I mentioned earlier, and something like the microphone screen nuke. And in those cases where Meta Knight 6 is cheerleading squad at you, the best means of defeating them is Kirby's powerful... They changed up the minigames for the hub world. There's this one where you're playing hot potato with the live bomb and frying pans? I mean, what the fuck? So if you go out of your way to complete extra mode in this version, you unlock Meta Nightmare mode, a time attack where, for the first time ever if I'm not mistaken, you can play as Meta Knight. Despite possibly being the same species as Kirby, he can't copy abilities. Or I don't know, maybe he chooses not to? Sucking can be so uncivilized. And behind the director's chair for this game, Dreamland 3 and Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards was not Masahiro Sakurai, but rather Shinichi Shimomura, who got a start in the video game industry with the 1991 Hyperzone. After that, and until Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland for the Game Boy Advance in 2002, Kirby was all that he worked on, and after that, he just disappeared. I can't find shit about this dude otherwise. He was a map designer in Kirby's Adventure and a couple of spin-offs, he was making his directorial debut with these, and then he just vanishes off the face of the earth, and for the life of me, I can't find anything else. Did he quit the industry? Did he move on to greener pastures, hopefully? I hope he's okay, Let's tackle that story real quick, though, for as much as that means here. The rainbow bridges that connect the Rainbow Islands together have been stolen by the evil dark matter, so Kirby, along with his new friends Rick, Koo, and Kind, set off to beat him up. And that's it. Never let anyone tell you that Kirby games don't have simplistic plots even for Nintendo standards. You can think of these guys like Yoshi in Super Mario World. They can serve as extra hit points and excel in certain terrain. Except Rick, who as far as I can tell is just Kirby with no means of flight. Let's start there. I don't like Rick. I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy, he probably covers the diner bill and tips well, but without the ability to fly, there's a couple of times where it's just straight up impossible to proceed along. I think a major culprit of this game's mediocrity is the removal of so many abilities from last time. Sure, stages in previous games weren't overly complex to start, but I feel there was a level of excitement you experience seeing a new enemy pop in and thinking about what they might have in store, but most of the time here, check the enemy list in the Kirby wiki and look how many enemies give you absolutely nothing. It's quite alarming. We're almost back to Dreamland 1 territory, which in case case you forgot, had no copy ability to speak of. The game looks damn good. I love the hand-drawn look, the soft and serene color palette. It gives off a very cozy feeling, very relaxing to the game's benefit and detriment. It's too relaxed in my opinion. This is a case where I feel the aesthetic came first and everything else second. Once again, it's up to Kirby and his animal friends to save the day, and off you go. It's Dreamland 2 on a bigger scale. More stages, more animal friends, more of the same problems. My complaints for Dreamland 3 are almost one for one the same I have with Dreamland 2. I don't know, has that ever happened on this channel yet? I can't think that far back. There's also this new cleaning ability where Kirby can sweep the ground. Woo! New friends are nice, and they're easily more available now than in Dreamland 2, mainly because you can just find them in rooms now without having to fight a boss. They try to guilt trip the shit out of you too if you don't pick them. You find a couple grouped up together, you go ahead and pick one, and the one you don't choose gets all sad and shit. Oh come on Rick, Jesus, I don't even know you like that, man. Go home to your girlfriend, she misses you, fuck. The second level focuses on making a certain character happy, either by using a specific power-up or whatever the hell Choo Choo does with this one. Nah, this can't be right. Why in God's name would a game like this— Oh God! No, wait, oh, what? Holy fuck, the little pink pup is immune to Metroids. Hey, so are his friends. Shit, what are we doing sending Samus to eradicate these things? Just have Kirby and his friends do the job. Hey Samus, good news. You're out of work. Fuck the Galactic Federation. I'm playing the game, I'm about to end the first world. Here's Wispy Woods again, that lackadaisical motherfucker. But about halfway through, oh, he is corrupted. He's angry and he's walking towards me now. That was unexpected, but it was memorable. About halfway through the fight, things suddenly amp up when DDD's chest becomes a big fucking mouth, and in any other game, that's just terrifying to think about. You remember that scene from The Thing? It's the same thing, but this game's aesthetic certainly softens the blow. But then you get the Dark Matter itself, who starts off like his Dreamland 2 counterpart, but then his final form attacks by cutting himself open and bleeding on you. What's happening in this game? I mean, it's cool, but how did we get here? Like with the hammer, you can swing it around normally if you want. You can do a spinning dash on the ground, but by pressing up and the attack button at the same time, you can also do this megaton uppercut that fucks everything up. Here comes a mini boss. There goes a mini boss. It does not matter if there are hazards around and all that, they are out for blood and they will not stop until the enemy is dead or until they blow up. Well, if they do take a beating, you can always share your food with them again by chewing it up and spitting it right into his mouth. Hey, that's what you do in the game. I know it's gross, but that's exactly what happens. The circle of life. You guys ever watched the second Ace Ventura movie? When you start the game, you can only choose Spring Breeze. So, okay, here we go. Some call him Kirby. Hey, gimmick infringement, motherfucker. But wait. If only some call him that, what the hell do others call him?
Marshmallow?
But King DDD isn't messing around either. He gets this new mask, a much bigger hammer. Look at that superiority complex at work, holy shit. I gotta give some love though to DDD's new lackey. It's just a Waddle Dee with a bandana, but when you tear through DDD's last line of defense during the castle siege and he's all that's left, he knows he doesn't stand a chance, but he stands up to you anyway because, damn it, he's a good soldier that's stuck in the corner with my fire breath. Vaya con Dios, Bandana D. Dynablade has Kirby trying to stop this majestic looking bird from causing a ruckus, but then you get to the end of it and find out she was only trying to protect and feed her children. Nothing much more than that, all a big misunderstanding. I think one of them dies of cardiac arrest at the end. That's a bit tragic. There's 60 pieces of treasures total, and a shitload of them require careful use of your abilities and observation. Otherwise, you're getting those occasions where you do something reckless and now you suddenly can't get that treasure anymore, you hot-headed dumbass. Next up is Milky Way Wishes. So the sun and moon are fighting again, which is apparently normal in Kirby, I've learned. And eventually he manages to summon Nova, but shock and all, the little jester jumps in and steals the wish for himself, making him all powerful for a few minutes before Kirby wipes the floor with him. Better luck next time, Marks. You know, in Japan, this game is called Kirby's Fun Pack. And you know what that reminds me of? You remember when you were a kid, you went to the supermarket with your folks, you get to the cereal aisle, and you saw those variety packs, and you think, oh man, it's like 8 cereals in one. I want that. The problem is, yeah, you get a ton of options, but you don't get much of those cereals individually, and who the fuck likes Frosted Cheerios? Again, use that guard button because that shit saves lives. God damn, again with the screaming. Go ahead and make a fucking hair metal band with Kirby. we're at the last of the Dark Matter trilogy, the last Kirby game directed by international man of mystery Shinichi Shimomura. Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards, a title originally meant for the ill-fated Nintendo 64 disk drive, but poor sales in Japan nixed that whole idea, so the game just got a regular release not too far into the turn of the millennium, and 1 year afterwards in Europe. Kirby 64 is also one of the only games in the console that actually uses the directional pad for movement and not the analog stick, so now I can hold the thing like a proper controller that has its dick hanging out. Anyway, that pesky Dark Matter is back at it again, only instead of corrupting Popstar, he's decided to corrupt this place over here, Ripple Star. One of the fairies living on the planet, Ribbon, manages to escape Dark Matter's clutches just in time thanks to the Crystal Shard, but Dark Matter manages to shatter the thing and spread the pieces across the galaxy. Ribbon ends up crashing on Popstar, where she then enlists the aid of Kirby to help collect all the Crystal Shards and rescue the surrounding systems from Dark Matter's influences once more. This is the third time in this trilogy we had this sort of story. I know it's Kirby, but goddamn, it's almost like every game in the Dark Matter trilogy is just a retelling of the exact same plot. Dark Matter possesses shit, Kirby goes to stop them. You fight this girl named Adeline by beating up her pictures, then you comically take her down the final hit. You fight a possessed King Dedede again, and the final boss is the same singular eye that bleeds on you. I think it's safe to call Kirby 64 Diet Dreamland 3. I'd say the combinations are the best compromise we've gotten here so far, if for any reason, then by virtue of the amount of fun you can have discovering what combination does what. For example, you can stack 2 of the same abilities to get a super version of it, one of my favorites being double burning. You shoot across the screen like a glorious fire chicken. The best combinations are often the type that combine 2 different flavors. Combine spark and stone to get this static boulder that does what it wants. I don't know if it homes in on enemies, I couldn't tell you. Or you can tap into your inner Star Wars fan and combine spark with cutter to get a double-bladed lightsaber. I also like my combinations to not unnerve the fuck out of me. What the hell is up with the needle and cutter combination? That is fucking terrifying. What's happening here? Is his body becoming a gaping maw? I hear folks getting disturbed by DDD's stomach mouth in Dreamland 3. Have you played Kirby 64? Christ almighty. I love those moments when your friends pop in and help Kirby out, whether it's the Waddle Dee riding a sled with you, complete with you putting your arms in the air when you're making a big jump, or those brief instances where DDD carries you on his back so that he can smash things with his hammer, or those moments when Adeline paints you some health items in the middle of a long level to give you a nice pick-me-up. Yeah, I just hope that the paint is safe and edible, you know. You think Kirby ate paint chips as a kid?
Why?
And is there a reason why Shiver Star looks like Earth frozen over? Ah, Kirby 64 getting some social commentary here. Setting this stage in a post-apocalyptic Earth because humans fucked the planet over? Well, too bad, Kirby 64, you got it wrong. We're not gonna freeze to death. We're gonna melt. Global warming is fucking us over now, and I wish we were kidding. Oh, fuck, that was depressing. We're back on the Game Boy Advance with the 2004 Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, notable for being the very last game series creator Masahiro Sakurai had any sort of involvement in. He was the special advisor according to the credits, meaning he was probably asked to make sure Kirby was either pink or yellow. Still, that's something to process, like after this, no more, see you later. Sakurai was done with his pink baby boy and he was off to work on stuff like Smash Brothers, Meteos, and Kid Icarus Uprising. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror was the combined efforts of HAL Laboratories, Dimps, and Flagship, a subsidiary of Capcom that would eventually close their doors in 2007. Not a bad list of games though to go out on looking at their history. You got the Zelda Oracle games, you got the next game I'm looking at in the Resident Evil Marathon, Code Veronica, that's kind of a happy coincidence. And oh, they even had some involvement in Onimusha 2 and 3. Okay, I know I keep mentioning this goddamn series, I should really get to it at some point. Just give me a little more time. One fateful day, an evil, shadowy figure begins to cause chaos inside the world, prompting Meta Knight to spring into action and protect Dreamland, but our elusive Star Warrior ends up vanishing without a trace, leaving Kirby to pick up the slack. But then our lovable pink ball of putty is suddenly ambushed by a dark Meta Knight, if you will, and finds himself split into 4 copies. I guess Nintendo figured if it worked for the Zelda series, it wouldn't hurt to try it on Kirby. This is almost one-to-one the opening of Four Swords Adventure. The plot MacGuffin is even called the Master Sword, the blade that shamelessly double-dips its own ideas. It's likely just a harmless reference. But all these areas interconnect with one another, and assuming you've got a knack for exploration and experimentation, you can visit most of these in whatever order you stumble through. And that's where I say the Metroidvania comparisons start and end, because this game This game ain't no Metroidvania I ever played. Then there's the matter of the treasure chests themselves. They're next to worthless, making exploration feel incredibly empty. Imagine if you're playing a Metroid game, you get to a Trozo statue, but instead of finding an energy tank, you find a regular ass energy pickup. That would be very lame, right? Amazing Mirror does that all the time. You're out exploring, you see a treasure chest, you wonder what might be inside, it's food. Or an extra life, because yeah, lives are still a thing in this game for some reason, and they hand out so many you wonder why they even bother, especially considering this game has a normal save system. So I'm spending the game hunting for those mirror shards, and I see on the map there's a goal and a boss. Well wait, what does that mean? Aren't the two one and the same? I have to beat a boss to get the mirror shard, and that's the goal of the game, isn't it? So what is this goal spot? Turns out it's just an exit for the area with a mini game, like if you just completed a stage in a regular Kirby game. What? Why? Who cares about that in this game? I don't need the food or the lives. I got plenty. I want mirror shards. Again, it's the game trying to be a Kirby game without considering the other genre it's trying to emulate. It is kind of weird that King Dedede isn't in this game at all though. Not even a passing mention. Must be on sabbatical. Or tired of all the damn dark matter possessions. I'd be too.
Yeah, remember when I said I didn't want Kirby bleeding into April? Well, here we are with another Kirby video at the end of April. So you know what? Let's just continue on.
So Kirby's out and relaxing, getting ready to chow down on this delicious slice of strawberry shortcake. I admire the attempted civility, Kirby, thinking of using actual silverware there, but I'm not falling for it, you pink, bottomless void. Before Kirby can properly munch down, the cake is suddenly stolen right under his nose, and immediately Kirby thinks it's the work of King Dedede. And then the Dark Force itself tries to cause a ruckus before Kirby kicks the shit out of him again. The day is saved and Kirby finally gets his goddamn cake. What just happened here? What is this story? Why did the Squeak Squad steal Kirby's cake? And apparently Meta Knight knew that the chest contained an evil force and that's why he stole it from Kirby, to protect Dreamland. But why didn't he just tell Kirby that? The other half of this game could have been completely avoided if Meta Knight elaborated on his plan. That's dumber than the Dream Rod shit from Kirby's Adventure. What, is he bitter about the Superstar incident? What a petty fuck. But here, first off, love that top hat. Very stylish, but it also shoots birds in an upward arc. You can toss playing cards horizontally, or you can summon Boppo the Clown and cheese certain enemies or puzzles. Watch and be amazed, Meta Knight. What, you don't like magic tricks? Well, you don't like fun? Pick a card and let me guess what it is. And where's my fucking short? I'd say give it a shot if you're hungry for another Kirby ROM, but you are missing absolutely nothing by skipping out on this one. You're better off eating a slice of strawberry shortcake. Good God, this game was about Kirby trying to get his fucking cake back. Sure, it's funny, but it's also stupid. I guess they really needed to squeeze a Kirby game out for the DS to meet some sort of quota, didn't they? Well, they did. They certainly did. Kirby Squeak Squad fulfills that quota. Today's subject is Kirby Air Ride. Sometimes I catch myself calling it Kirbys Air Ride. I don't know why I feel the need to make the title possessive. Sounds more natural to me, I feel. But it was shortly after this game's release that Sakurai took his leave from HAL Laboratory. Wasn't too big on feeling pressured all the time to create sequels, and I wonder if he still feels that way. Well, I can't speak for the man. Maybe he relaxed that philosophy in the coming years, or maybe he's dying inside every time some douche asks him when's the next Smash DLC coming out. I'm thinking Sakurai knocked it out of the park with the first two Smash Brothers games, especially Melee, and now he had free reign to make whatever the hell he wanted, so he probably said, fuck it, I'm finishing that Kirby racing game before I skedaddle. Kirby Air Ride only uses two things on the controller, the analog stick and the A button. The A button is used for everything else. Everything else! Inhaling enemies to copy abilities, using boost pads on the ground to gain some speed because just driving over them is simply not enough, and this charging maneuver that acts as both a brake button and a drift, so to speak. The attempt at incorporating Kirby's copy ability here was admirable. They're the standard power-ups for this title, and there's several from previous games like Fire, Sword, Plasma, and Narcolepsy. Eventually, I started getting things like the Wagon Star, the Turbo Star, the Rocket Star, a lot of them which I found meh. I just wasn't a fan of their crippling over-specifications. Wheelies had ground speed but were shit in mid-air in a game that largely has you do both mid-air driving and ground driving all the time. The Turbo Star and Slick Star, what the fuck? One's like riding a stick of butter in a frying pan, the other just has shit turning in general. King Dedede can smack things with his hammer, but he's miserable in mid-air because his vehicle is a wheelie by default. And Meta Knight can only use his sword and it's pretty fragile, but he's got great speed and his flight makes him overpowered in those tracks with a lot of hang time. Not bad, but they have limited appeal because of these over-specifications, much like the other Star vehicles. Oh, the Dragoon pieces. Shit, that's from this game? Oh man, fuck the stat boost. I just gotta hunt these down and I think that's a guaranteed victory. Sure enough, if you manage to form the Dragoon, you won. It outclasses everything, especially flight, and it just so happened the event I got afterwards was the gliding one, and hot damn, it wasn't even close. This Hydra is kind of similar, but it's more of a tank. Okay, more like a juggernaut, because once it gets going, it can't be stopped. Much like Kirby's appetite.
Jesus.
Sometimes you might even get these events that can pop in at random and throw a curveball in the mix. Items becoming super bouncy, which I can't stand. You can provoke God's wrath and deal with an apocalyptic meteor shower, or you can suddenly find yourself... Did you know anyone that actually had a GameCube LAN cable? I sure as fuck didn't, so I had to make do with some workarounds for this. So, confession time. I've been using an emulator to record this game because my GameCube has unfortunately ran its course and it doesn't read discs all that well anymore. 17 years and I got it used. It was a good run, but I swear I'll get you fixed one day, my dear. This is not how you were destined to die. Thanks to the Dolphin and this program called Parsec, I was able to experience actual local co-op over an internet connection with my good buddies Linky, Fonz, and Nolan. Apologies for the bitrate being a little shit. In hindsight, it should have been me who hosted the session, but it's better than nothing. Definitely a great means to have fun with friends in the middle of this pandemic. Why am I wearing a mask? This is online.
And that is what I'm going to call a wrap for this first Kirby marathon. I think I'm at a point now where I can call myself a fan, or at least an informed observer. I found a new love in Superstar Ultra, finally got to pick up Kirby 64 after being pestered about it for so long, and now I'm enamored with the whereabouts of Shinichi Shimomura, the Jimmy Hoffa of game developers. Seriously, I hope this man is alright.